Today on Behind the Buzz, we have Austin Martin, Head of Publicity for Anakeesta. Have you ever been to an adventure park at the summit of a mountain? Anakeesta is Gatlinburg, Tennessee's award-winning adventure park surrounded by the majestic Smoky Mountains. It's a place for adventure and relaxation, exploration, and wonder. A place where people of all ages can discover nature and family entertainment. On this episode, we're exploring how you market a unique attraction like this, how to keep the buzz going, and keep visitors coming back. With recent exciting attraction openings, Austin has taken us behind the scenes of Anakeesta.
Hey from Andrea, chiming in that Austin is extremely charismatic, a pop culture guru, and a peak Bravo fan. I'm under the weather, so I won't be joining this episode, but let's get buzzed anyway.
Hi, Austin.
Hi, how's it going?
It's great. Are you ready to do this?
I'm ready.
Awesome. All right. Well, welcome everyone to our second episode of Behind the Buzz. Today on the pod, we have a special guest with us, Austin Martin. He is the head of publicity for Anakeesta in the breathtaking Great Smoky Mountains of Gatlinburg, Tennessee. With almost a decade of experience in broadcast television as an anchor, producer, and reporter, Austin brings a unique perspective to creative storytelling, crisis management, and elevating the publicity game for the adventure park.
Well, thanks for having me. Wow, I didn't know I got such an intro.
Hey, that's the way we do it here. Welcome to Behind the Buzz. Are you ready to get buzzed?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. We've been working together for about a year now, and as we prepared to open two brand new attractions, the Hellbender Mountain Coaster, which we got a great headline for today. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
We did.
And the Bird Venture. Hell on Wheels. It was so good. And then also the Bird Venture, which is a whimsical family play zone featuring 3 uniquely designed and larger-than-life birdhouses and 7 incredible slides.
It is.
With LED lights.
Honestly,
amazing.
You knew how excited I was before it opened. And now that it's here, I'm like, no, very cool.
So good. All right. So you are relatively new to the attractions industry, Austin. You came from a career in broadcast journalism. What's the biggest lesson or challenge that you've had transitioning to the other side of the table or camera, if you will?
Well, one, it feels like it's been so much longer than a year. You know how much work we put in, opening these new attractions over the past year. I think the biggest, besides having normal, and I say normal, quote unquote, normal hours, and sleeping like a normal human. I think really the biggest challenges to overcome is really when you're telling the news, you're giving, just the basics. Here's what happened, that kind of thing. You're really selling an attraction. So you're really, building up that brand. What does that brand mean? And you actually get to really dive deeper into those stories that you're telling versus just kind of giving that surface level, what you need to know. And so I think that has been my biggest challenge is, telling those stories, not just in an advertising way, but going more in depth. Okay, you've told the story before. How do you make it different? So, yes, we had those kinds of stories in news, but, really going into, let's build this brand, let's build this story, let's give it a little more, time and effort. And I think that really has been my biggest learning curve is like how to get away from just the facts, but also, have a little fun with it.
Awesome. So if you had to prepare or mentor someone that is just starting to work in attraction publicity, what would your advice be?
Never plan for anything and think.
No, that's terrible advice.
No, wait, finish. Never plan for anything, but plan for everything. And I think that is the best way to describe it because you need to be able to shift that plan. As well as I do this past year. None of our timelines worked out the way we thought they were going to. They really didn't.
True.
And so, you can plan to have it done by July, but it's going to be done until November. And so you just need to have, everything planned out, what you think is going to happen. And then you need to really have a realistic plan of what's actually going to happen.
You have to be able to adjust on the fly.
Definitely. You have to be prepared for everything as well.
Without a doubt. So when we started working together just after this current expansion was announced, it was about a year ago. Back then it felt like we had a lot of time to prepare. Like we had this huge long window, almost a year. How do you feel about those timelines now? And assuming that other publicists or owners are listening, how much time would you recommend that someone give themselves to build a viable launch plan?
Well, I think you learned a lot about me, and I think I learned a lot about myself in those timelines. Me and you are very like timeline driven, and I am too to a certain point, but I'm like, "Ah, we got a year to do it. We're good. We're fine." No, it is never enough time. I think, honestly, um, we had a good plan, had it open, and no hiccups or anything like that. I think we gave it, you guys started planning a little bit before I did, before I got here. And so I think we had a great plan. It didn't go that way though. And so I think honestly,
You're ready to adjust.
yeah, you really do. I think, maybe 2 years is a really great time, because that first year is really doing all those bigger picture things and really thinking about like, what do we need to get done? And then that next year being an execution of how do we get it done on time and make sure that we're not, last second. Everything's going to be last second. It doesn't matter how much time you plan. It's really, you're going to have so much going on, especially that month leading up to those attractions. I think just giving yourself enough time to really think about what could go wrong and what probably is going to go wrong. And then, of course, all the things that go right that just take time.
Right, right. So what were some of the elements that you built into your pre-publicity plan? Wow, that was hard. That made it really impactful.
So, I mean, we really just, wow. And that's a complex question. So pre-publicity, as in like for, our opening and things.
Well, you took some of those small moments or construction moments and turned them into big milestones, like your hard hat tour and some of the moments that you were able to get media out there to start talking about it even before you had anything to share.
Yeah.
Well, anything tangible.
Yeah, exactly. I think we,
You always had something to share.
we got very good at kind of planning that. But I really think that, building those moments exactly, you might only have a dirt lot to show off, but hey, for example, we brought those Hellbender carts up onto the mountain, the sleds.
Mhm.
We built a mountain of rock to give you kind of the view of what the Hellbender might be. And then, for Bird Venture, we only had the statues done. So we put the statues on back of a flatbed and put it up there for our media day. Through the whole process, every little thing, we took those social media, um, you know, people really just want something new all the time on social media.
Mhm.
And that's one of the biggest challenges. Also, you asked earlier what the biggest challenges of this. How do you come up with those new moments? And so every little thing that happens, make sure that you document. Take everyone involved, take pictures. That's the one thing I have learned through this whole thing because you
Yes.
really are feeding the beast. The beast being that social media and attention spans and really figuring out how to get the best moments and get people excited about something that may be a year off, and so really just making sure that you're really keeping up with all the things that are happening and staying in good communication with your team. I think that's the biggest thing. Making sure that as whatever their job may be at your park, at your attraction, making sure that they're communicating with you to make sure that your goals of marketing are going to match theirs and, making sure there is that line of communication. So one, they feel comfortable when something doesn't go right. They don't feel like, oh man, I have to tell Austin, and so you really just want to avoid that, but really just building on, making sure people are excited about what's coming.
I love it. So tell us about the actual grand opening day. What did it look like?
Well, it looks like, we have planned it for a year or something. Um, knock on, I don't even have to knock on wood anymore. I was very pleased with, grand opening day. So, you all arrived the night before, our national writers arrived the night before. And so we really got up and you're in the Great Smoky Mountains. It was absolutely beautiful. Great weather. Could not have asked for a better day. We got up.
That's true.
It was a beautiful fall morning. All the leaves were changed. We all went to breakfast. Everyone who was supposed to be there was there on time. We had a great turnout for what it was. We had all of our owners. They kind of gave us that, welcome to Anakeesta, what's coming, what to expect that day. I walked everyone through, what the day would look like. We did a tour and then we all just went as a group and got to experience all the brand new attractions. So we went on the Hellbender. We put people with cameras. We got them all rigged up. Our staff was
Amazing.
super great about, making all these, cameras work on our track because, we are on a mountain. And so our biggest thing ever is logistics. And so really making it
Right.
look good, but also be kind of fun and behind the scenes. It's not your typical mountain coaster. It's actually on a mountain. So, really making that work. Then we went, to Bird Venture. We got to try out some of the slides for the first time. You were there, it was a lot of fun. Our slides were
It
super
was wild.
slides are, we're literally going down the mountain. So kind of getting people to experience those for the first time. It was a lot of fun. We did lunch and then our, baby over the past year, really getting people to that grand opening VIP event. And it really was magical. It's one of those,
Mhm.
it's a feeling that you don't get doing other things. It's a feeling of accomplishment. And I don't know, it's probably a lot of relief too. Um,
Yeah, no kidding.
seeing everyone that, had really either been a partner or, a media sponsor or anything like that, really get to see what you've been working for. So, we had the little details, that really came together. We had our step and repeat, a blue carpet event, we had, a projector ready to announce our next big thing. We did our
Right.
next big thing announcement, Astra Lumina getting two brand new zones. So everything really went as planned and it really turned out to be a magical night.
And it was a gorgeous night. I mean, again, the weather was perfect. You can't get better cooperation. And certainly riding the Hellbender at night gave everybody who was there, your partners, your journalists, a very different experience than what they got to see during the day.
It was, man. The video that came out of that, because, I guess wrote it so many times in the daytime. I didn't realize what a different experience it is at night. And, coasters are thrills for me. That is thrill enough. At nighttime, that is a whole nother. I'm like, well, nope. So, for thrill seekers, absolutely amazing. And then seeing Bird Venture really, all the way up to grand opening, our team was here, for probably 72 hours straight, really just making sure all those finishing touches and like paint and lights and everything were ready to go. I'd never seen Bird Venture lit up at night. And so really getting to see what it looked like in all its glory. This
It
thing
was
that
gorgeous.
was just an idea finally coming to life. It really was out of this world. I mean, it really was something you'll never see anywhere else. And just seeing all the little details that you had heard about, but not actually knew what they look like kind of come together. It really was a really cool event.
And it's so nice to get to hear everybody rave about how wonderful it is, right? It's
Yes.
beautiful, it's magical, all the
You're
things.
just like, I've been trying to tell you.
You're justified now. So if you could prioritize the most important or effective aspects of your grand opening plan, what would they be? And it could be anything, a focus area, the multi-layered approach, your teasers. What was really impactful?
Besides follow Christie's plan, even when you are unsure of it. Besides that, no, definitely just
Ah,
having that plan really, all the way down from the big picture things. Okay, there are the obvious things that have to get done, but really thinking about something that helped us here at Anakisa was really breaking down by department. What do I need for this grand opening? Where does social media fit into there? Where does food and beverage? Where does, really making sure that everyone is on the same page really paid off for us. You had a crash course, kind of in that Astra Lumina grand opening, the one before we opened this. So, 2 years in
yeah.
a row, you got to do it back to back. But really, just making sure that everyone is on the same page and that everyone's good to go. And really just having a little margin of error for either department, making sure that you realize not everything's going to be perfect, even though knock on all the wood, that
We
event,
try.
yeah, that event went great. So, but really just making sure that one, you're not too hard on yourself, but two, that you are holding everyone else accountable, making sure that everyone is ready to go for your big event or big reveal.
I love it. I love it. So switching gears a tiny bit, you had a pretty significant curveball thrown at you during the construction of Bird Venture. You
We
had a little fire.
we did have a fire, and you guys, it was a setback. Happened on May 24th, about 9 o'clock. We were in the middle of a commercial shoot here on the mountain, and then we had this massive fire and destroyed one of the birdhouses. Spontaneous combustion was the cause of that fire. That was later revealed, but after that, we really had to sit down and like, how do we come back from this? And not only how do we come back from that, how do we make this up, make this promise happen to our guests? How can we really come through and deliver this thing that we've been talking about for so long still in 2023? And so we worked with our team out of Florida, our contractors. They really, I don't know how they did it. From May to November, they got us back to the same spot they were when they started this back last November. So from November to May, they worked really hard. The fire happened. And then from May to November, they got it done. We got a brand new owl house, and it's actually a little bit bigger than the other one was going to be. And so, some good came from that. We learned how to deal. I had never been in a crisis situation here. And so I got to learn through that. Got to learn about, oh, this is a great comeback story. How do we market that to really be like, hey, we are doing this for you guys. So,
Right. And that is kind of a question. How do you go from that kind of crisis communication and then transitioning back to it's okay. It's okay, right? We handled this. We talked about it the best we could. Um, minimize the damage as much as possible. Certainly, the fact that nobody was hurt and it was no fault really. It's kind of a
exactly. It
weird
was
thing to
just
say.
one of those strange
It's
things you can never plan for in life. And so we were very fortunate. Nobody was hurt. Everything still went off, as it should have. Our team on the mountain handled that well. They handled the bounce back well. Then we had to go through a whole deconstruction of this, attraction we've been working so hard from, and then we had to rebuild it again. So, we had a lot of things working in our favor, and we were very lucky with how well everything did turn out in the end.
Yeah, and really from a publicity standpoint, you didn't really miss a beat. I mean, there was the crisis communication piece of it, but you were able to really quickly jump back into new attraction conversation, and it did not overshadow the beauty and the excitement of opening that Bird Venture
It
experience.
did. And so many people were so excited for Bird Venture in the beginning, but I think even after this, they're even more excited now. It's like, oh my gosh, this is still happening. Thank goodness. And so
Yeah.
I think that really did, help in that aspect, going from that crisis communication to, hey, this is still opening. We're still delivering this for you.
Right, right. So what's next for Anakista? Any new publicity features, coming attractions?
So Anakista is always starting a new project. You've learned this very well in your time. So right now we're working, as I was talking about, during our green opening, we announced our two brand new Astro Lumina zones. So Astro Lumina, we're getting a brand new zone, which is going to be Nebular Waves. I'm very excited about it. It's going to be a super cool liquid sky effect. If you head to @Anakista on Instagram, you can find a cool video of what is to come. We'll be doing that during our downtime of January and February because it is going to require a little bit of construction. So we're going to have to kind of change the trail of Astrolumina. And as we get that new attraction, that's going to lead you right into our reimagined Astral Genesis chapter. And so that is where our disco ball, if you will, is. We're kind of
Okay.
reimagining that to make it a little more interactive. Right now, it is very cool if you stand and watch it. However, you want something that people can really get into and be immersive. And so here at Anakista, we're trying to make people really get an experience they won't get anywhere else. And so we're rebuilding this, and it's kind of going to be something you walk through versus you walk and look at, if you will.
Oh, I love it.
And then down the road,
So
Stone Village, we are about to announce our second phase of that. So, Stone Village phase one just wrapped up. It included, Astrolumina, the Hellbender, Bird Venture, and then the Stone Village area.
Mhm.
Well, now we're about to open our Fur Trader, which is a brand new retail location. It's the biggest one on the mountain. That one should be open by the end of the year, if not the first of uh, 2024. And then, of course, we're going to work on that Astrolumina. And then we have some pretty big announcements that we can't share quite yet, but we'll be announcing those next year in 2024.
exciting. And so just even for Astrolumina to know that if you come back next summer, even if you've seen it before, you're going to be able to have a new experience.
And that's really, what
That's
we're trying to
amazing.
do. Nobody wants to go to the same thing, same place, do the same thing twice. you might once or twice, but that's about it. So you always want to make sure that you're really progressing forward. Okay, what makes people want to come back to
Mhm.
Anakisto? Besides it's beautiful and the food, A plus. But you definitely,
Agreed.
you want to be able to go do something new and really share that with your friends. And then also, when you take someone after you've gone to do it, it's a little less magical for you. So you don't get to see as much excitement on your end that you could be experiencing with. So, that way families can bring their other family members up and still be just as excited to go through Astrolumina.
I love it. So, if one of our listeners is preparing to launch a new attraction or new product or even open a new business venture, what would your top 3 tips be to maximize their publicity to reach new customers?
Make sure you have a plan to really, yeah.
I
One,
love that that's what you came
it
away with
was
first.
make sure you plan everything. You can't leave it.
Warms my heart.
So, from the publicity, make sure you're creating that excitement early. So, even if there's nothing to look at, make sure that you have that social media like, okay, I need to hit this milestone, then this milestone, and make sure you just set goals for yourself very early on. The second, make those personal connections. Coming from my background, for example, it has helped me. I have, had some really great relationships with our local media and knowing people who work in the industry, but really as a reporter, I have people really, you never want to send just an email and leave it at that. You always want to, hey, I have this great thing happening. If you have time for lunch or you even stop by a station, make sure you really build those personal connections to make sure that you are getting your message heard and it's not just going into a junk email box. The third one, I would say, make sure, besides having a backup plan, make sure that you're really creating that excitement. So, I talked about that in the first one, but you really need to make sure that, okay, you did it once. Well, you're going to have to do it again 1,000 times. How are you going to do it better? Making sure that you're always trying to better what you're putting out there. And,
Mhm.
maybe take those risks, maybe try something a little unconventional. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, you learn something. And so you really need to just be flexible with yourself and always be willing to try something new. The world is ever changing. You worked in marketing a long time. I've worked in TV, traditional TV has even changed. And so where is social media these days compared to what it was a year ago? Completely different places. So just making sure that you are flexible as you're trying to gain that publicity and willing to take those risks on something that may work or maybe something that's very new and is really up and coming. So just making sure that you are ready for all of those random challenges that are going to come.
Excellent, excellent. This has been so great talking to you, Austin. I always love chatting with you. We probably do need to start wrapping it up.
We do.
So let's talk about you and
Okay.
what you are currently buzzing about. So, what are you currently watching?
Oh, what am I currently watching? Well, honestly, I'm not going to lie. I just came off a vacation. So I really unplugged. But Winter House is my go to. Um, it always has been, Bravo. It is a wormhole that I get into. And then I'm just like, I don't know these people, but I love them. Uh, so
BravoCon, here we come.
I'm ready for it. Andy Cohen, you need a co host. Let's go. Um,
All right.
but yeah, Winter House is where it's at right now. I'm all into Lindsay Davis, Carl Radke. I had hopes for them, but here we are.
Gosh. What are you reading?
What am I reading? Actually, I'm not doing as much reading. I just started a
Mhm.
new self-guided journaling. It's called Story of My Life. Go to your local bookstore. It's very cool. And so it's really um, not just about the traumas of your life, but also like things you might not remember until you're asked about them. And so it's really just recording them and putting them all down into one place that you can look back and maybe in 10 years, you won't remember that one specific thing, but it asks you a different prompt every single day. And one, it makes you think, but also like keeps you engaged. So you're writing your own story versus reading someone else's.
Oh, I love that. Love that. All right. What's the next show that's on your radar?
Ooh, next show. Honestly, I just wrapped up The Crown as well. The first part of the final season. The next part comes out on December 14th. I'm super excited for it. It is the final one, which I'm kind of sad they're ending it. because there's so much more to the royal family. This is the Diana era. And so the first part was the Diana very much. And the second part is kind of as William and Harry end up going to college and kind of where they get their start into the royal family, transitioning into that next chapter.
I love it. I actually have not been watching that, but I think that I may just have to binge it from start to finish.
I
All
personally
right.
recommended it. I watched the last part shamefully in about a half a day. So
Oh, wow. Well, you were on vacation,
you know,
right?
I'm
So,
time.
all right. So then last but not least, what brands are you currently watching on Instagram or TikTok?
Brands. Honestly, I'm very impressed. Lulu has had a pretty good campaign out. It's
Hmm.
caught my ad a few times. Also, here in Gatlinburg, if you are lucky enough to see some of those targeted ads, our Visit Gatlinburg, they do a really good job of kind of rebranding every few years. And some of their stuff, I was like, oh, I didn't know we were working on this. So good to see Anakisa
Oh,
in a few places. So that's been really cool to kind of watch, some of those other things come to light.
nice, nice. All right. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you, Austin. It's been so good getting buzzed with you.
Thanks so much for having me for the buzz.
And until next time, this is Behind the Buzz.